Hi chat, hi real chat, how are you guys? I'm here today. My allergy situation is still bad. My eyes are red, and the postnasal drip has caused sore throat to maximize. And it lingers. But hi, happy Monday. So you guys over here, all right, this is the part where we transition. We're transitioning over to Twitch. So come join us over on Twitch. If you've never been on a Twitch stream before, it's fun. It's a better platform for streaming. I can show evidence of things. We go through things together. The green screen feature on here is so buggy. It doesn't work. It clips weird. You got to go pre-orders from television, and they're great. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. I'm so happy. Okay, yay. That makes me really happy to hear. We still have a lot of shipping to do. I think we have 1,000 orders still to ship out, but we've shipped out like 1,000 of them. So we're like halfway through. So it's a little bit slow. First stream, yay, hi. So you guys come on over there. It's a better platform. We're going to be doing something we call Double Down on the News. So we look at current events. So I actually like doing the Twitch stream just because it keeps me up to date on current events as well. So it's a pretty easy way to stay up to date on what's going on. And we do an analysis of sometimes mainstream news articles. We look at the language they use. We look at the context they're missing. And we talk about things in more detail. Oh, my job. My real job is that I'm a clothing designer, not a Twitch streamer. So sometimes people who follow me on social media also are customers of our company, which is cool. I started a worker collective like 15 years ago. So it's a worker collective that does clothes and jewelry. Yeah. So it's clothes. Okay, anyway. I side with Larry in whatever conflict's going on over there. Do I find it's easier on a phone or computer for Twitch? I watch Twitch on both. I would say if you like to be active in a chat, if you're watching, if you like to be active in a chat, it's probably better on a computer. But both are probably fine. And if you are a streamer, I think it's way better to stream on your computer. It takes a little work to set up, but it's fine. Oh my God, yay, Australian high schooler. A lot more of my audience is international now because Americans are such ding-dongs. And the rest of the world's slightly less ding-dong than us. So I'm really, really happy. More Cuba. Okay. 186 in chat. Hi from South Africa. Hi. Tunnel vision. Oh, we did different models that were like socialist models in the early stages, but it was always like collectively shared. Like all the profit was split between everybody. But there were different ways we did it. I talk about it in my book. It's a little long to explain. But we tried basically 3 different setups before we landed on this one to try to be equitable and good. Oh, you stole some of my reading materials for class? Yeah. Hello from Oklahoma. Hello. London, yes. Ghost and Sal, yes. Liking your Magneto-Marxism comments on your other posts. Yes. Love. South African tankies for the win from the Philippines. Oh my God, I love it. You just read my book at work. You understand my vibe now? Yeah. Yeah, it is really funny. It is funny watching people write fanfic about me on the internet. And I'm like, no, I'm just from Fresno. Like, I don't know. I'm just scrappy and kind of, I don't know, kind of annoying. That's it. That's very, very funny. 214 chat. Okay, that's good. Okay, so, you guys come on over. We're going to talk about current events today on Twitch, and you get to vote on the topic, and we go through it all together. Okay, we have something. The woman who thinks civil rights went too far. Oh my God, the news is newsing today, everybody. Virgo sent this. The woman who thinks civil rights went too far. Ah! Wild. Scrappy gang, get in. All right, so come on over. It's Madeline Pendleton there with no underscore, and we're going to be talking about the news, and I think you'll like it. It's a fun community. Everybody there's really, really, really nice. It's free. If you've never used Twitch before, it is free. You can subscribe, which we appreciate, certainly. Also, people gift subscriptions to each other a lot in the chat. So, pretty fun. So, come on over. It'll be a good time, and we will see you over there. Okay? All right, bye. Okay. Is it just me? Or was the TikTok chat a little less annoying today? Hi, welcome. Yay. The accent is the whole valley, not the San Fernando Valley. It's basically any farming hub of California. Yeah, the San Fernando Valley did have a farming hub in it, which lots of people don't know. But yes, and the reason is that this accent comes from an Okie migration pattern. So it's farmers during the Dust Bowl, like from the Okie region, Oklahoma region, but generally farming regions kind of over there that during the Dust Bowl migrated west, Grapes of Wrath style, and settled in California farming communities. And that's where this voice comes from. So it got popularized in the media in the 80s, obviously. And because of that, I think it became like a social thing where you heard it more. So we like, the voice like grew and like one-upped itself over time. So for me, you'll hear my accent sometimes is more extreme, sometimes is less extreme. If you get me around other people who speak with a Valley Girl accent, it reaches like unmatched levels of Valley. Like, and I don't notice it. It just is like, yeah, Moon Unit Zappa, exactly. And I grew up hearing that shit on the radio. So I already kind of had the inclination, but then I grew up hearing like Moon Unit Zappa talk and watching a Valley Girl, right? And so all of those elements of your voice kind of became extra mode, like emboldened, I guess, by the pop culture trends of the 80s. So I was born in the 80s and I grew up with that as a kid, so that seemed like normal talking to me. Does that make sense? You have the same accent? Yeah, and you're from California. Exactly. So yeah, I'm from Central Valley, but yeah, it's not the San Fernando Valley, but we also, some of us get the accent. Yeah. Thinking in Indian, it highlights indigenous North American culture. No, but I am interested in that. Usually I just read indigenous communist work, like Red Nation stuff like that. Oh, you had a Valley Girl accent as a child despite being born and raised in Seattle. See, and that's probably what, just because of the media, right? Yay, oh my god, hello, welcome Jacob Harkey. Okay, hydrating. So for those of you who don't know, I am in this cycle that happens to me every spring where my allergies act up really, really bad when things start to bloom. And then I have very bad seasonal allergies. And then it turns into a sinus infection. And then I get massive postnasal drip while I sleep. And then my throat gets really, really sore. And then I get a hacking cough. And this happens every year when the seasons change, and it is horrible. And I have all sorts of obnoxious prescription nasal sprays and stuff like that they try to treat me for. And I probably realistically need to do the allergy shots, but they're so expensive and I don't have health insurance right now. Larry, you sound like you're from Trailer Park Boys. Love that, yes. Yeah, so we're in hell right now, basically. We're in the hell cycle. This happens pretty regularly every spring. And it is what it is. That's actually why, just so you guys know, originally why I got my NAT tester. I have the molecular COVID tester. And the reason why I got it was twofold. Was one, I have a friend who's immunocompromised. And two, my allergies make it so hard to know if I'm sick or not, you know? Because, and this has been something my whole life. So with COVID, it became extra important, obviously, to make sure that I knew what was allergies and what was COVID. And now, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword because the molecular test doesn't test for everything. It just tests for COVID. So I can take that and know with certainty, with 99.999% accuracy, okay, I don't have COVID. But it's still, I'm like, well, what if I have another cold? What if I have this? What if I have that? Right? And I don't know. But yeah, this has been going on now we're on like week 3 or 4 of the cycle. So it is what it is. Bummer. A bummer. New health insurance, not even Medi-Cal. No, I make too much money for Medi-Cal, but because of my age, they upped my insurance cost to like $750 a month. And it's just like unfair. Like our work doesn't have money like that. It's a bad economy year. So the work covers up to $500 of health insurance, but I was like, you know, $250 a month is like massive to me to pay for extra. And on top of that, then you still have to pay for your doctor's visits. You still have to pay for your prescriptions. You still have to pay for all this stuff. And it's just, I'm like, I'll take my chances until I'm more financially stable anyway. It's just too much, you know? Like $700 and some odd for health insurance. And that doesn't even guarantee you health coverage. If you're not from the United States, you might not know this, but getting health insurance doesn't mean then you go to the doctor and it's free. You still pay a flat rate to go see a doctor. Ours is pretty cheap. I think it's like $20 or something like that, but still. And then if you need anything beyond the actual doctor's visit, medical test, your blood drawn, any of that stuff can cost still hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And then if you want prescriptions, it can cost a ton of money too. So it's just one of these things where it adds up. And I'm like, I would literally rather pay for telehealth doctor's appointments at the stage of my life that are like $50 a pop all in when I need them than go through with the monthly health insurance thing. Yeah, it's an actual hellscape. You have deductibles. You have to spend a certain amount of money before your insurance actually kicks in. So I kind of just made the decision also that like I was just going to tank my credit this year. So I'm like, okay, what happens? I go to a hospital, I get a hospital bill, I just don't pay it. I'm in a very fortunate position where I can tank my credit because I own my house. So the only thing I would ever need a credit score for at this point would be if I needed to buy a new car, if my car broke down. But I don't drive that often because I work from home. So my thought was literally I'll just save for a few months and then buy a car in cash, like a $3,000 beater in cash if that happens or something like that. But state employee insurance, your deductible is still $1,500. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah, you don't pay your medical bills. I mean, yeah, it's just deranged. It's just deranged. I went cold turkey on mental health meds. Oh, God, that's so scary. Your spouse just got a bill for seeing a cardiologist. The appointment was 30 minutes. The doctor concluded nothing seems to be wrong. You have to pay $700 for it with insurance. Exactly. So that's why I'm like, okay, not worth it. I will have to like do a telehealth thing to refill my nasal prescriptions coming up soon because I'm running out of them, things like that for my allergies. But okay, Lennox has a question about communism. If the transition to communism is a gradual process, does that mean during a time period of 40 years, all the presidents are about to come to have to add socialist policies consecutively and gradually until communism is reached? No. So what you need to know is that communists don't believe we can vote our way into communism. That doesn't mean we don't participate in electoral politics. So I'm a Marxist-Leninist, and I'm a volunteer on the Vote Socialist campaigns out here in California in the United States. We are running Marxist-Leninist candidates on a Lenin model of electoral engagement. Now, for a lot of people who aren't super well-read on communism, this can appear to be a contradiction because Marxist-Leninist, the type of communist I am, we don't believe you can vote your way into socialism. So why run candidates, people ask. And this was actually addressed in Lenin, Left-Wing Communism and Infantile Disorder in the section called Should We Participate in Bourgeois Parliaments, I think is what it's actually titled. Yeah. So in that chapter, Lenin talks about it, and Lenin is like, look, we know you can't vote your way out of capitalism. We know electoral politics are obsolete, but the masses don't. And the masses are there in the electoral arena, and it is our duty as communists to show up where the masses are and attempt to educate them. And Lenin was like, look, that doesn't mean that we hide who we are, that we hide what we think. We don't. We're very upfront with who we are and what we think. But what it means is we know, right, that that actually getting communists elected to positions of political power in capitalism allows them to better illustrate to the masses the shortcomings and the failures of the capitalist system. They can say, well, here's all the stuff I want to do for you, and here's all the reasons I can't. Now, a great example out here in California of that happening and us really seeing it is this. We have a Marxist-Leninist running for insurance commissioner that is polling really, really high. Now, insurance commissioners have the right to approve or deny insurance claims, blah, 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 blah. Insurance premiums going up, things like that. Now, also in California, we had a massive issue with all these fires, and people's houses burned down, and their home insurance refused to cover the repairs or rebuilding their houses, and a lot of people just got really fucked over by these insurance companies. So our Marxist-Leninist candidate is running on abolishing private insurance companies altogether. And people in California hate insurance companies, even conservatives. So he's polling really high. Like, he's like giving the Democrats a run for their money out here. So what happens? Well, two things happen. Hold on, I have to cough again. Sorry, I'm like all fucked up. Yeah, I know, it's weird. It's complicated. So two things happen. The Democrats start running. Democrats have this, like, here in California, maybe in other states too. They have a fake left-wing political party called the Working Families Party. Do you guys know about this? They're just progressive Democrats pretending to be something else. So they're running this woman named Jane Kim on the Working Families Party as a fake socialist. And she's like, no, we don't need to abolish the insurance companies. We can reform them. We can fix them. It's going to be fine, guys, for sure. So now she's running. Now, what did the Republicans do? The Republicans introduced new legislation that said you had to be in a managerial or higher position at insurance companies, like basically be an insurance executive to run for the public office of insurance commissioner in California. Well, that's obviously super fucking corrupt, right? But because we have a Marxist-Leninist running that's about to win, right? All these people are like, oh no. So what it does is it exposes how oppressive the system really is, right? And that is exactly what Lenin said would happen. Like, this actually, having Marxist-Leninists participate in the electoral arena showcases to the masses how this system is not designed to let you win. You can't win under this system. So you need to build a new system. And obviously, if we win, that's good because we get more of a spotlight, more attention, more podium, more opportunity to talk to the masses and educate them about socialism, which is the system we want to build. So, yeah, it's a huge conflict of it. It's insane. It's an insane law they're trying to introduce. So, it's good. So we don't believe you can vote your way into socialism. However, we still participate in electoral politics because, first of all, if you can do some things that save people's lives, great, right? If there's little things you can do that help people, fuck yeah, let's do it. Why not? But more than that, you have a massive now opportunity to expose what's going on with the government to the masses who only engage in politics in an electoral arena. If you're... Good morning, Fork. She's so cute. She came in here to go in her little bed. So if you, for example, are hearing just a random school bus driver named Megan Adams tell you, hey, like, the California government's really, really corrupt, and all this money that's supposed to be going to giving us things like housing, healthcare, whatever, they're instead using to give, like, $100 billion a year in tax, like, loopholes to corporations. You might listen. If you're, and Megan Adams is running, she's a school bus driver, she's actually running for state controller in California as a Marxist-Leninist. Now, if your state controller comes out and does a press conference and says, hey, I'm trying to do all this shit with our money, but these corporations are so corrupt they won't let us, look at what's going on, you're definitely going to listen. That's a big news story. That hits the news cycle. That might even go national. And now all of a sudden you're educating more and more people about the shortcomings of capitalism. So, free fingers when a fork is nearby. Fork! So what area is this candidate representing? So both of these candidates are California specific. So in California, we have 5 Marxist senators running for office right now. They are Ramsey Robinson running for governor, Alice Steck running for lieutenant governor, Lalo Eduardo is his real name on the ballot, Eduardo Lalo Vargas running for insurance commissioner, Megan Adams running for state controller, and Virgo, I met Megan over the weekend for the first time. And then we have Frank Lara running for superintendent. So that's all in California. Oh, truffle. Yeah, it was great meeting Megan. These elections are June 2nd for the primaries, and then actually in November. But you have to make it past the primaries, obviously. Have Marxists ran for office or government or healthcare positions and been assassinated? I'm trying to think if Fred Hampton ever ran for office. I need to look. My political party ran the Black Panthers, and we all know the Black Panthers were aggressively targeted. But I don't know if anybody who actually ran for office from the Black Panthers was also a person assassinated. Black Panthers, he was in Chicago. Because I'm with Peace and Freedom Party. And if you are a communist in California, or a socialist even, whatever, you should be registered Peace and Freedom Party in California. That is our socialist party. It is very special that we have that. They have a legacy going back to the anti-war movement, to the Black Panther Party. They ran the Black Panther Party. That we're very lucky to have them because third parties, usually socialist parties, get sued off ballots and stuff to not have ballot access, but we have that, so we should use that. I'm not sure. I'm looking for a specific district or city or county. So no, these are all statewide elections. So, we have smaller elections, right, for our city and stuff, but then we have statewide. So those 5 candidates are all statewide. We do have somebody running for mayor, city council, something like that, but they're not in my district, so I don't know about them. Where is now pivoting for a write-in? Look, Peace and Freedom Party has a unity slate with Green Party, and almost everybody in the Green Party is awesome. They're very easy to work with. We work with them on stuff. They're great. They're fine. I have never liked Butch Ware, like, forever. Going back, I've always thought he's a weirdo. Because he's weird about China. He said some transphobic things. Like, he said some, like, weird things about black women. I'm just like, girl, I don't know what's going on with you. I do not fuck with you, specifically. So, I've never been a Butch Ware guy. I can't do that. And I think he's a kook ball. Very, very weird. He made a rap cover? I can't. Okay, look, I don't know how disrespectful I can be, because I have a big online presence, People Peace and Freedom Party, they handled it very, very mature. I'm not on the board with Peace and Freedom Party. I'm not in charge of anything over there. I'm just a regular registered voter, okay? So I have no sway over Peace and Freedom Party. So they handled it like mature adults. And I commend them for that. My instinct is just to be like, that girl is messy and I hate her, you know? So, better than me. Bushware, oh my god. But the Uyghurs, yeah, he's okay, let's watch this. Hold on.
Fascists get demolished, Republican and Democrat. I drone strike like Obama at a Yemeni wedding. Double tapping the drama, 15 blue and team red. It's about to get drastic, blacked out and redacted like your Epstein files. Nasty, freaky, and tragic. Your politics are disgusting, and we gotta get past it. Pass the mic, watch me blast it like knots on your matic. Got a manic, frantic, scrambling in the day's panic. You know they can't stand it, body all in a verse. Handle light work first. Eric Swalwell, all hell, back up the hearse. Eric Swalwell for Israel and Cape for the cops. Wrote a thank you note to Ice Kid, I kid you not. He dropped draws for APAC. Me, I rep Tupac. And the Panthers like a Fanny Good and plenty. Catching many. Katie Porter up next. Hershey beat up her ex. And she scream at her staff. Pout and storm off the set. They want you drowning in debt. I get free healthcare in college. Lay it down, it's a bet. Professor Ware dropping knowledge. And dropping housing costs. And show them who the boss. Power back to the people. Everyone free and equal. They care of buses too. We taking care of you. Not the billionaires and Zionists that run Team Blue and Team Red alike. It's time to pass the mic and let a real opposition party into the fight. That brings us back to Team Red. Them fascists want us all dead. I'm gunning straight for the top. The fish rots from the head. Say Trump, I heard you like I'm young. You in them PDF files, nigga. You must think we dumb. We ain't slow like you. And I know I struck a chord. A minor is the key, cause you grape them in their teens and your little maggots. Bianco and Hilton, they all the same to me. They want ice up in the streets, so we fighting back. Coalition on a mission. Asian, black, and Latino, and all the working class gringos, brown and native peoples, and all the folk who love freedom. We taking Cali back. They not like us. Step up, help me beat them.
Oh. Look. Here's the thing. I don't hate that as much as I should. I feel like the meme slap vid, the meme slap diss track, a tactic. I think because I already have feelings about Butchware, I'm like, oh, okay. But is that not what Gavin Newsom's approach to dealing with Donald Trump was? Right? I mean, it's someone's tactic. It's the Green Party governor candidate for California. And some of it was fine. It's just interesting, I think, is my takeaway. This is interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah. He's an interesting person. The meme swap thing is inherently Republican coded, perhaps. That could be our governor. Yeah. I don't want that to be our governor. That's not who I want to be my governor. Is the thing. It does give a little bit of hello, fellow kids. Yes. I think Iran did it better as well. Oh, you got in trouble with the Wikipedia mods for describing me as Marxist-Leninist? Apparently I don't have a Wikipedia article anymore, which I'm fine with. A lot of content creators being Maoist. I really think it's people who haven't deconstructed their liberal ways. If I'm being perfectly honest, and I don't mean that as a diss. Trotskyists, left comms, Maoists, I think that they are still harboring like liberal propaganda, hatred for actually existing socialist countries. And they just haven't deconstructed it yet. And they're like, this is a safe way. They're like, communism makes sense, but I can't deconstruct this propaganda yet. So this is a safe way for me to be a communist and still cling to my little precious propaganda. That's really what I think. Brown and queer indigenous person here. That was too identity politics for me. Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody said they took it off. I've never looked at it. So I didn't, to be frank, I heard I had one, but I never really paid much attention to it. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't need a Wikipedia article. It's funny. Okay, so welcome to the Twitch stream, chat. Hi, everybody. We're back on our normal content today. We're going to talk about the news. You think Maoist is unfairly characterized as disliking post-Mao China? You met Maoists who do fuck with China. Oh, okay. Here in the United States, that's usually what they mean when they call themselves Maoists. Like, I fuck with Mao, but I call myself a Marxist-Leninist, you know? Usually people who call themselves Maoists, it's because of that. They're like, only Mao from China era is what that means. Calling sensitive white workers working class gringos. That was funny. Yeah. So, if you're new here, this is how our normal content goes. We talk about the news, and that means you get a vote in what news we cover for the day. So there's this portion of the stream where you get to submit anything you've seen in the news that you might want to talk about, anything you thought was interesting, maybe something you're like, I haven't read this yet, but this caught my attention and I want to look at it, whatever. Now is the time where you can submit them to the chat, and then I'll pull them all up, and then we will narrow it down to 5 choices and vote on what we want to look at. So does anybody have anything they have seen in the news that interests them? I'm going to look at the Sun article, personally, that interests me about North Korea executing people because somebody told me that this existed. This is from February 4th. Oh, this is old. Does anybody else have one? What else? What else we got in the news? You can include anything. It can be global. It can be whatever. Oh, yeah. Smash Ultra coming with the Black and Gender Report. Popular participation and socialist renewal in Cuba in a time of crisis. Okay, I like it. Kim Jong-un ate your baby. I've heard that he does that. Yeah. Budget of the U.S. government. 92 pages. Okay. For 2027. Iran actually captured our pilots. Let's look up some Iran news. Maybe I'll just do a general, news today. What are the masses consuming? What are they looking at? Supreme Court paves the way for Steve Bannon contempt case. U.S.-Iran received draft ceasefire proposals. New York Post, Iran vows devastating widespread retaliations. CNN will host a California gubernatorial primary debate. Guess our guys are probably not going to be included in that if I had to guess. Disney is a landlord in California. That makes sense. What else we got? Okay. Essay against nuclear imperialism. Mint Press News. Global energy shock. Iran turns Hormuz into a toll gate, challenging the petrodollar. That interests me. First time chat. Taiwan and China. One of our favorite topics. Then we have Iran calling for definitive end to the war. Okay, we like it. First time chat unplayable. Oh no. Gatsparis. Norwegian. English. Okay. Can create a primitive nuclear weapon. All right. Okay. Kim Jong-Stalin. There's, one of you guys has an account on TikTok that's called Fork Stalin, and I'm really into that. Petition opposing Israel's death penalty needs help to hit 100K signatures. Oh yeah, Israel's new racist death penalty. That's one. North Korea's so evil. I heard their elites owned an island off the coast and 8 children there and covered it up. First time chat. Okay, so here's what we got. This is old news on the North Korea front. Okay, so we have Cuba updates. We have the proposed budget. We've got some options. Virgo, are you ready to get ready for a poll? Do you think? I think I could put these together into something. Ready. Okay. So we definitely have Iran. Iran just updates. General Iran updates. We have the budget proposal. We have Cuba. And we have Taiwan. And we have Israel. Is that 5? Did I say 5? Stalin fork. Yes. I love Stalin fork. Yay. Yay. Oh, wait. We have one more. Decades of economic. Oh. I love this. The Broken Empire. We might have missed it. Okay, so everybody go vote. Vote or gulag, you know the rules. If you do not vote, you get sent to gulag. Vote is mandatory. You must participate in democracy. Unless you are listening to the stream on headphones and you are too far away to vote. Then maybe it's okay. Go for it, everybody. Get your little voties in there. I would do a gaming stream. But the games I play are so boring. Like, I play Sims on my own, and then my partner and I play Civ. And it's like, do you really want to watch two people play Civ? My partner is psycho good at Civ, though, and we play where we randomize everything, so you can't prepare, so you just get who you get, and you're like, good fucking luck. And it is fun. I have been watching on TikTok things pop up that are people playing GTA 5 but pretending to be NPCs or like random animals in the game and then like hijacking people and stealing their cars. And I used to be very addicted to Grand Theft Auto when I was a kid. So I've been like, uh-oh, that seems fun. I love those videos, yeah. I play Sims on psycho mode. So I've said this before. The way I play Sims is survival mode. So basically, I make a character. The easy version is she's a witch. And it's always a lady. I'm only making ladies in that game, okay? There's no men in that game. Once in a while, you'll get an NB. But usually I'm making like a lady. Specifically a lady. And, which is weird. But you know, it is what it is. So we get the lady. And then she's a witch if I'm playing on easy mode. And she's not a witch if we're playing on hard mode. She's just a person. And all she gets to start out is a dumpster. And she has to dumpster dive everything she needs to survive before she dies from not having enough shit around her. So if she's a witch, when you dumpster dive things that are broken, she can use Repario to fix it. And that makes it a little easier. But if she's not a witch, she has to not only dumpster dive everything, but it has to be things in functional condition. And it's real hard. So that is how I play Repario. Yeah. And then I also have a rule where anything that comes out of the dumpster cannot be sold. It must go into the house. So you have to build a new room to accommodate every item you dumpster. So it's kind of like, if you guys are familiar with the Winchester Mystery House out here in California, it's the widow of the guy who owned the Winchester Rifle Company. And she, after he died, was convinced the ghosts of all the people who had been killed with Winchester rifles were haunting her. So she built her house to be a never-ending construction zone that was a maze with new rooms being added and doors going to nowhere and everything to confuse and trap the ghosts so they wouldn't get her. So that's what the houses end up looking like a lot of the time. Okay, Iran updates one. Yay. I might be role-playing Teenage Madeline. That could be. I don't know. Usually I, like, randomize the lady. Here's the thing. I think maybe it's because I don't put a lot of work into developing their personality. I randomize their traits. I randomize them to start. And then I go in and give them good outfits, you know, and, like, nice hair. I'm like, that looks cute. I'm not mad at looking at that. And that's kind of it. That's what I do. London's best case been 10,000 points voting? Wait, what? One person voted for more Cuba. I love that one person. Committed. So committed. I love that. I love you guys. Yeah, I mean, The Sims is pretty fun. Like, I couldn't sleep last night, so I woke up and was doing a little bit of it. You know, no big deal. Monster check. Why do you guys do this to me? Okay, well, we're going to get into Iran. So we've missed some Iran updates because of our Cuba content. You know, it's okay. It is what it is. There's a lot happening, though. So what I've been seeing happen in Iran has literally been the United States being like, you better watch out, Iran. If you don't come for a ceasefire now, we're going to get you. You got 3 days. And then Iran's like, we're not going to do that. No. And then the United States is like, I swear to God, you got 2 days left. You got 2 days left. I'm counting. And they're like, yeah, we heard you. We're not going to negotiate. We're doing the war. And then they're like, wait, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. And Iran's like, yeah, we told you we're not negotiating. We're just going to do the war thing. And then the United States is like, you know what? You drive a hard bargain, Iran. We'll give you 10 more days. And you're like, girl, what? Like, what? Yeah, America's acting like a Disney school bully. It's very, very fascinating. We're bluffing. And Iran's calling our bluff over and over and over again. They're like, come through. It's like me dealing with a troll on Twitter when they're like, I'm gonna murder you, and I'm like, here's my address, show up. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not waiting around for you to maybe or maybe not murder me. Just like, let's get it over with if you're gonna do it. Right? That's what is happening with the United States and Iran right now. Iran calling the bluff every single time Ghost in This House has been so satisfying. Yes, it has been. It's been so funny. And I do think that Iran's AI Lego videos are getting more developed. Like, I think Iran is really figuring out how to tap in to the American masses, to our 6th grade reading level, to our AI slop-driven brains, to short-form content. I've noticed their propaganda, it seems like it's getting more and more perfected, right? They did the same shit with the TikTok ban. Yes, they did. That's true. Yes. So I've been really into that personally. Like, I think it's working. You've not seen the Lego Pete Hegseth? Did we watch Lego Pete Hegseth on this stream together? Have we not? Because Lego Pete Hegseth video. No. Oh. Okay. So 2 days ago, this article was posted by The Independent. Inside Iran's meme factory. Who is behind their viral campaign? So Iran is winning the culture war. And they are producing so much meme content that speaks to the frustration of the American masses. The Americans love it. Which is a wild twist. I don't think anybody in the U.S. government expected this. So let's watch Trump branded a loser, an Iranian AI propaganda rap music video. This is the only AI I will excuse because Iran is making it. It's not in the United States. It's not destroying our lives. But there's a lot of Lego imagery going on. There's a lot happening. There's this world's losers leaderboard, #1 loser, Trump. Like, I really think this is peak American brain. Iran will make Baby Shark videos so grown Americans can understand actual politics. Exactly, Avril Cringe. Iran's big power level is propaganda. First time chat. Yes, they are doing a hell of a job. And it seems like at first they were trying to be like, you're reasonable people. We're reasonable people. We don't want to do this. Your president is a madman, though, and we're sorry. And then it seems like they finally started realizing, like, oh, that's not going to work on the American people. The American people are ding-dongs who want to watch blood sports for fun. We know what to do. We're going to make the equivalent of a Michael Bay movie, but with AI Legos to dunk on what loser clowns their government is. This has been remarkably effective. They understand the American mind. They are doing amazing things in terms of propaganda creation. Yeah, they made AI look good somehow. We don't love AI, obviously, but not because of the technology itself, right? Because of the implications in a system of capitalism for environmental and worker exploitation. But if we're going to war with them, we're bombing them, we're trying to kill their children, we are killing their children in schools, I'm going to give them an AI video pass. Not really the most of my concerns with what's going on in Iran right now is their use of AI. Okay, so we're going to watch this one and we'll watch the Pete Hegseth one. Because we're talking about Iran today. We're allowed this. We get this.
Yeah. You crossed the ocean just to find your granted. Sacrificed your own boys for a lie. Listen. Yeah. Yeah. Make America great again. Yo, Tails, this shit crazy. Yeah, make America great again now. You will see what happens, yeah. Watch this. Sacred defense, we protecting the soil. While you sacrifice soldiers to pay for your spoil. You thought you ran the blow, sitting on your throne. Now we turning every base into a bed of stone. It's a slaughterhouse, a trap you couldn't see. Welcome to the graveyard of your vanity. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are hiding. LOSC. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a fucker while you shaking in your sweet. LOSC. Taste the ash of defeat. LOSC. Yeah, we spelling at your name. Send them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a fucker while you shaking in your sweet. LOSC. Taste the ash of defeat. In your suit, hiding Epstein's ghost. You sent your boys to die on the bloody coast. Not a revenge for the leader's blood is purely mine. Every drop of his blood is a missile on the line. You thought you took him out, thought the fire was dead, but another common enemy is standing ahead. Yeah, you strike one down, we just shatter your brain. We put another in the leg. Common again. The secrets are leaking. The pressure is rising. We locked on the target. And now you are high, yeah. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Sell them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash. LOSCR. Yeah, we spelling out your name. Sell them to the slaughter, you the only one to blame. Bleeding for a puppet while you shaking in your sweet. LOSCR. Taste the ash of defeat. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. Sacred defense of the homeland. The slaughterhouse is open. Common name cash. LOSCR.
You will drown in our blood. You made a grave mistake by choosing to attack us. Among all U.S. presidents, you stand out for making one of the most reckless and misguided decisions. You underestimated the strength, resilience, and unity of our people. History will judge this choice, and it will not be in your favor. No. Thanks you for your attention to this matter, the people of Iran. I mean, what else is there to say? Like, they said it all. They were like, first of all, you're gonna lose. Second of all, we're gonna kill all your guys. Third of all, you're a vain, shallow, egotistical child for even trying us. Fourth of all, you don't even understand how our fucking government works. So you killed a Khamenei and you thought you'd be done? Guess what, bitch? We have more Khameneis. Continuity of government. What did you accomplish? Nothing. And now all you've done is united us, and now we hate you. Sacred defense of the homeland. We're doing it. It was absolutely amazing. It was wonderful. It was very, very good. Pretty cool. There is Raccoon Psyop has sent the Telegram chat where they dropped these videos. Pretty amazing. And so this article's talking about it, and these have been very successful. Okay, this war is deeply unpopular, right? Should we look at the numbers? How many Americans support war in Iran? This is a video. I don't want to watch a video about it. Let's see. Iranian Americans have turned against the war. They lost the diaspora. That is major. Yeah, today's stream is just us reacting to political rap videos. Exactly. By any means necessary, Saz, experience has shown us that the red blood is capable of obliterating red lines. And if the nation chooses to follow this path of resistance, Israel and America will find out they're incapable of changing anything in the equation. Yes. I don't want to read this firewall, but basically, I'm looking for the new numbers. Okay, so this is from March 25th. So this is, a lot can change. A lot can change in 12 days. But 61% of people 12 days ago disapproved of Iran, of the war in Iran. They lost the diaspora. The American government did. So it's deeply, deeply unpopular. And so when they say the viral success and production value of AI-assisted memes and stylized video clips coming out of Iran have taken many in the West by surprise, they're very successful. And this, I think, actually has their version of StratCom, strategic communications, right? They are meeting the moment. They are talking to the American people, and they are garnering support internationally because of this. And it's like, this is what Gavin Newsom and the Democrats thought they were doing, right? But honestly, if they were doing it, it would have been so cringe. But the way Iran is doing it is so, like, they're not holding back at all. Like, they are just putting it all out on the line, and they're just saying it, and they're saying what we're all thinking. And I think that's why it's so effective. And I think that's why it's effective for Iran to do it, but it would not be effective if the Democrats in the United States took the same marketing approach. Now, you know they're going to try. You know they're going to try, don't you? Oh, I know they're going to try, and I am not ready to see what happens in 2028 elections with the AI video meme trend between the Democrats. You know they're going to make it bad. But, you know, it's going to... it's going to be interesting to see how Americans try to seize onto this and, like, co-opt it. Let's see if they have the Pete Hegseth video. If we haven't seen that one, I really, really like it. So, they're talking about this. It's very, very good, obviously. Let's see. Do they have the links to the other videos? And we've reached the stage where even the Iranians are trolling Trump. This is a good one from 12 days ago as well. As Trump claims Iran sent him a very significant prize and is in desperate bid for peace, the Iranian leadership derisively points out that the man who started the latest conflict is only negotiating with himself. So let's watch this video as well. And then I do want to watch the Lego Pete Hegseth video. Maybe we'll do Lego Pete Hegseth first, because if you guys didn't see that one, it's pretty good. Is this the one? The one of Pete Hegseth underwater did come from it, though. Where is this one? Oh, here, Reddit. Reddit's got it. I'm so sorry, chat. We're Redditors now.
Yo.
This is it.
Pete Hegseth. This one's specially for you.
Yes.
You punk-ass rapist, bitch. Straight from Iran. Your tattoo covered clown with that cafe ink on your arm. Think you a crusader? Nah, just a drunk infidel in a fake uniform. Chain to kill all Muslims. Wasted in the hotel lobby. Sexual assault settlement in Monterey. Blocked the door, took a phone, paid her off quiet, cause Me Too was on. Now you secretary? What a joke, bro. Cheated on wives, multiple affairs. Kids in the mix, family man? Hell no. Handsy with women at Fox, drunk on the job. Your own team say, yo, this dude toxic. Couldn't even guard Biden's inauguration. Your own military said, next. Book called American Crusade, dreaming holy war. But reality check. You just a failed vet turned TV clown, slipping on your own mess. Trump picked you cause you kissed the ring. But wait, funny part ain't coming. The dude you sucking up to for that secretary gig. Trump himself was Bill Clinton's top cocksucker, giving blue jobs back in the day. Real talk, you out here blowing for access, but he the original BJ queen. You thought our missiles max 2,000 kilometers? Cute, rookie mistake. We hitting the bow, worshiping Epstein Island crew, the ones who hurt the kids. Revenge for every American soul you and Trump's dirty crew oppressed and did. We taking payback for the girls you broke, the wives you broke, the Muslims you hate. Every victim screaming in the dark. Iran got you on the play. You threw everything at us, all your cards, all your might. We still operating on 10% power, laughing while you fight. We see everything, know every secret, every dirty Epstein link you hide. Where you least expected, in the shadows we ride, and no place to slide. This ain't full force, just a warm-up, Persian flow with the wrath. Pete, you done roasted raw. Iran sending this heat, feel the math. Drop the mic, infidel clown, we coming.
I agree with Virgo. This is just good music at this point. I would just listen to this song. Like, this is great. Persian flow. And also, I love that they hit us with this. They're like, because we all know a big part of the propaganda was that Iran's horrible to women. And they come out and they're like, what about all the women you're abusing? We're doing this for the women. And it's hard to argue with that, because you look at the actual statistics about Iran and you see more women in college than in the United States, more women in STEM, more women in these, highly respected professional careers. And it's just absolutely wild. They're right. They are doing it for the women, right? Is the AI over now? I don't know yet. We decided to give Iran an AI pass because we are trying to destroy them. So, AI, right? And again, like, AI is only a problem under capitalism. If you actually, like, talk to people in China and their relationship with AI, first of all, they have this massive green energy initiative. And second of all, they're not using AI as a way to replace workers for capitalists to make more money. So they're not afraid of AI in China. And I think that's, like, really good perspective for us to have. AI is a problem in the United States because it's a tool to exploit and harm people under capitalism. But, obviously that's not what's going on in Iran. And that's important for us to remember. Yeah. Oh, just a sensory nightmare? That's valid. I think that's valid. Yeah. So I think this is, like, very, very cool. I'm very, very into this and what they're doing. Now, let's watch this video. This is a video from 12 days ago, so we're a bit behind, but because we were doing Cuba content, we didn't really talk about all this stuff when it was coming out. And we're gonna watch this one here.
قدرت راهبردی که از آن دم میزدید تبدیل به شکست راهبردی شده. مدعی ابرقدرتی دنیا اگر میتوانست از این مخمسه رها شود تا حالا شده بود. اسم شکستتان را توافق نگذارید. دوران وعده هایتان به سر رسیده. سطح خود درگیری هایتان به مرحله مذاکره خودتان با خودتان رسیده. صراحتاً اعلام می‌کنیم تا موعدی که اراده ما نباشد هیچ وضعیتی به روال سابق بر نمی‌گردد. این اراده زمانی ایجاد می‌شود که به طور کامل فکر اقدام علیه ملت ایران از اذهان کثیف شما پاک شود. حرف اول و آخر ما از همان روز نخست این بوده، هست و خواهد بود. کسی همچون ما با کسی مثل شما کنار نخواهد آمد، نه حالا و نه هیچ وقت دیگری.
Okay, I hydrated. I caught up on hydrates. Yeah. No, this is like very, very interesting. They are winning. They are winning. So the Iranians are supposed to have been crushed, hunkering down in bunkers, waiting for the next bombing raid. Maybe they are, but they aren't admitting it. Instead, we've now reached a stage in what amounts to Gulf War III, where the Iranians are trolling Donald Trump. Clearly, they know how to annoy this notoriously brutal man, and their online campaign is the counterpart of their asymmetrical warfare on the ground. Now, it's important to note the United States is always waging what we call hybrid warfare, asymmetrical warfare. So we do militarized action, but we also do economic warfare. That's sanctions. We talked about that last Wednesday. But also we do propaganda. Now, Iran is beating us at propaganda, which I don't think is something the United States government was used to. Now, ironically, Donald Trump's desire to cut the administrative state, to cut the propaganda arms of the United States, funding financially the National Endowment for Democracy, the USAGM, which obviously he wanted to do so he could consolidate those resources better under the federal government, but that hasn't happened yet, might actually be contributing to part of why we are losing the propaganda war. Those Democrat-favored kind of institutions of evil propaganda had been remarkably effective at what they had done. Think about how many average Americans literally think you're only allowed to have 16 haircuts in North Korea. That's straight up USAGM propaganda slop. But Donald Trump cut the funding to the USAGM, and he did not appear to understand that propaganda is a massive part of warfare. We are not pumping out anti-Iranian propaganda. Now, you remember when we talked about the start of the Iran war, what happened? People were like, why didn't we get a sales pitch? George W. Bush did evil shit in the Middle East all the time, but we got a sales pitch. We got a tour. We got talking points. We got a year of convincing us. There was no sales pitch. Donald Trump was just like, we're going to do it. What the fuck are you going to do? And in that regard, he was right. Like, the American people are so pacified. We're so docile. Like, what are we going to do? However, Iran has an opportunity to reach the American masses with propaganda because Donald Trump has opted out of the propaganda component of our warfare. Or he's doing it, just a really half-assed lazy job of it, right? So, wait, what happened? When I finished my sentence, what happened? What happened? What happened? I missed it. There's been a lot of propaganda like this online lately from Marxist Schema Zero. Oh. Yemen. Yeah, see? They're winning, and we're not participating in this way. We defunded all of these. Another Lego video, but one that made you emotional. Somebody said something when I finished my sentence, but I don't know. So this is like,
I know some of you are tired of hearing about Palestine, boycotts, protests, resistance. You sit there thinking, another speech, another chant, another plea. But you have no right to get tired, no right to feel weary. While babies are buried under rubble, the bombs don't get tired, the tanks don't get tired, the colonizers don't get tired. So why should you? This struggle is not just about Palestine. It's about our own children too. What world will we leave them? A world where governments jail you for speaking truth. A world where they deport you for your skin, your faith, your name. Where fear reigns and freedom is silenced. We fight today for their tomorrow. We will perish from this earth, but they will inherit everything we leave. Let us not leave them a world ruled by tyrants. Leave them a world where they walk with dignity, not shackled in chains. And don't be fooled. This isn't about religion. Bombs don't ask your religion before they fall. Muslim, Christian, Jew, we are cousins in humanity. Why do we act like strangers? This fight is for all humanity. And yes, I hear it all the time. Why don't you talk about Congo? Why not Sudan? Listen well, when we speak of Palestine, we speak of all the oppressed. Palestine Palestine is the mirror of every injustice. It is live streamed to every phone, every eye, every heart. And when Palestine rises, when Zionism crumbles, every domino falls. Congo, Sudan, Yemen, Kashmir, they will all rise next. This is why they fight so hard to silence you. This is why they flood you with distractions. And beware, the biggest betrayers are not just abroad. Arab rulers, those cowards, make dua with one hand but choke Palestine with the other. They shake hands with Zionists in secret, then pretend to cry in public. They sell out Jerusalem for oil and gold. They are not leaders, they are traitors. But we the people, we will never be sold. We are the fire they can't extinguish, the resistance that never dies. Palestine's fight is our fight. Their freedom is tied to our freedom. From Gaza to Kinshasa, from Yemen to Kashmir, our chains are the same. And that victory will spark ours. We don't march for headlines, we march for history. Our unity is the weapon they fear most. We will fight, we will boycott, we will build by every means necessary until Palestine is free, until every oppressed people is free. I know some of you are tired.
That one was emotional. Yeah. So very clearly what Iran's doing is working, right? And they are really hitting. It's interesting because in many ways Donald Trump dug his own grave by defunding our propaganda outlets, our propaganda sources. And I think that's why this war has so little popular support. Now, the ultimate question is, does it matter? Does it matter that the war has very, very low popular support? The war on terror had very low popular support. Doesn't matter. And I think this is something that's a hard question to answer because in the immediate, no. But when you take that into account while thinking about the fact that so many young people favor socialism, I think it has long-term utility. I think it has long-term opportunity, right? So it's very interesting thinking about it because it's not going to stop the war that the American people don't want it. Unfortunately, it's not going to. And I learned that lesson during the war on terror when I was a teenager and I was protesting against it. And there were hundreds of thousands of people protesting that war constantly. Millions of people all around the world. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter how much we told the U.S. government we didn't want the war. They did it anyway. And it's just like that Parenti quote we've talked about here before. Okay, so do you really think going out in the street and marching around with a little sign is going to stop anything or change anything? And Parenti goes, no, but I'm going to do it. And, you know, that's what we do. No, but we're going to do it. So really, I think that for us in the Imperial Core in the United States, it's more about it being a long game, right? This is just another thing. It's Vietnam. It's the war on terror. It's the war on Iran. And that's what younger people are waking up to. And if we present to younger people that there is an alternative viable system, while we're at the same time decreasing their confidence in the existing system and we're showing them that there's an alternative system, I think that's ultimately the long-term trade-off that's going to be generational because we have so much work to do dismantling things in the Imperial Core here. It's so bad. But I think it's effective, you know? I think that's kind of what's up. Oh, okay, bye. Good night, Australian comrades. It's also why liberals are so mad. Yes, ghost in this hell. Their propaganda arms are dead. They won't be able to rebuild them. That's true. And liberals are arguably better at propaganda because liberals have managed to convince their voter base that they don't do bad things. That's how you know they're the ones that are better at propaganda, right? Yeah. So this is what we're talking about here when we talk about asymmetrical warfare on the ground. It's an innovation in the art of propaganda that has always been deployed in warfare. The Iranians have been producing short videos which portray Trump and Netanyahu as Lego figures killing innocent children, while the brave commanders of the Iranian armed forces rain fire and fury down upon them and their allies, notably the Gulf Arabs, Orthodox rabbis, and British forces in Cyprus. It's quite nasty stuff, to be honest, and Trump is depicted as an angry, sweating, impotent fool, which has had enough truth in it to be effective in its primary goal. It doesn't seem to matter to them that there is, for example, no conventional Iranian navy, nor that the missiles they lob around have a poor hit rate. This is war, after all. Job done by the underground animators of Tehran. Okay, so they got to throw in the anti-Iran stuff there. And there's a chap named Ibrahim Zolfagari, a lieutenant colonel and spokesperson, for the Iranian military, who has been taking the mickey out of Trump. The way this is written, so British. Filmed sitting behind a desk in fatigues, Zolfagari did a Saturday Night Live on Trump in a formidable style. "Hey Trump, you are fired," was the opener. You are familiar with the sentence. The strategic power I used to talk about has turned into strategic failure. Has the level of your internal conflict reached the point where you're negotiating with yourselves? More emphatically, he added, you will neither see your investments in the region nor the former prices of energy and oil again, until you understand that stability in the region is guaranteed by the powerful hand of our armed forces. Stability comes through strength. For this as ever, Trump can only blame himself, though that won't stop him from offloading if it needs to be, and he's already started subtly pulling Pete Hegseth into the role of scapegoat. First, it is his war of choice, as he's prosecuted it, most likely the direct defiance of warnings from his military commanders and diplomats and the inevitable consequences on Gulf allies, other Western partners, the risk of casualties, and getting drawn into an endless conflict, and the dangers in the world economy. Trump knew best as ever, and now he's landed in a trap of his own making. I think this is very, very true. He cannot easily escalate the war without inflicting further damage on the world, including America and its domestic standing, but the Iranians won't allow him to declare victory and cut his losses. I also think this is really funny. The Iranians understand that Trump is his own propaganda machine. He's like, I don't need propaganda, I'll just do the thing. But him doing the thing is like, they want to negotiate. They're ready to negotiate. So Iran is just straight up like, no, we're not. He's lying. That's a liar. Sorry. And that's been very, very effective as well. And that's what they mean, where they're like, they won't let him declare victory and cut his losses. They won't let him back out and be like, my bad, haha, I think I'm in the wrong house. Like, they won't let him do that. They're like, you're in here now. You're in here now, bitch, let's go. Which is interesting. So they say, so long as they control the Strait of Hormuz, they control Trump. So Trump knows all this, but obviously can't admit it. So he goes around declaring, we've won this, the war has been won, when it patently has not, and mumbles something about a very big present the Iranians had gifted to him. I'm not going to tell you what the present is, but it was a very significant prize, and they gave it to us. That meant one thing to me, he added, we're dealing with the right people. Obviously, this is easy for Iranians to mock and the rest of the world to be, at best, puzzled by. Now, why does he have to say we're dealing with the right people? Because he has to make it look like he successfully pulled off regime change in Iran when he didn't. He didn't, right? But he has to pretend like it did. Like, oh, we got rid of the big bad, Khamenei, the 90-year-old religious leader. And now we've done regime change. And the new people, they're to our liking. None of this is true, though. Right? Yeah, love how they consistently deny his ceasefire. He's so desperate. Exactly, yes. Now, all that said, there's no denying that the Americans and the Iranians have been talking, although indirectly. We know they almost had a deal brokered by Iran that covered most of Trump's new 15-point proposal. That was a little over a month ago before the White House decided on war. So this was before the war, the 15-point proposal. What were the 15 points? Let's see. Where is it? Oh, I think what we know about the 15-point plan. Here we go. Let's see. Give me the details. We don't get the details. We just get people kind of guessing. Ugh, that's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. And obviously the public requirements that Iran has had is like, get your military bases out of here and leave the Middle East completely. And that's what Iran is demanding, which actually is a reasonable request, right? Imagine if the United States had a bunch of North Korean and Russian and Iranian and Chinese military bases all around its borders, and then we went to war and we were like, our demand is that you get these military bases out of here. That would sound reasonable. But for the United States to let go of its military bases in the Middle East, that's completely unreasonable to us, right? Because of how American imperialism works. That's something that's not acceptable to us, despite that being the norm for every other country in the world, right? Are they asking for the abolition of Israel? I really want to, like, look at the complete list of demands. This is from March 9th. This is from a month ago. That's Israel's goal in the region. I'm not sure. Where can we find Iran's demands to end the war? Maximalist, here it is, an hour ago. We've got this from Axios. Iran sends maximalist peace plan response as Trump deadline looms. A U.S. official who saw the Iranian response called it maximalist. Trump told reporters Iran's response was significant but not good enough. He said it's highly unlikely he'd extend his deadline again. I gave them a chance and they haven't taken it, he said. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned Trump against a ceasefire deal, an Israeli official told Axios. So the U.S., Iran, and a group of regional mediators are discussing the terms for a two-phase deal, a 45-day ceasefire that would then be used for negotiations and a full agreement to end the war. The 45-day period could be extended if more time was needed for talks, one of the sources said. Trump has threatened to destroy infrastructure vital to Iranian civilians if he is unable to reach a deal with the regime. This could constitute war crimes, and Iran's retaliation could also have major implications for civilians across the region. So the Iranian response emphasizes a need for a permanent end to the war and not just a temporary ceasefire. Sources with knowledge of the negotiations said this is a key sticking point at the moment. The response includes a demand that ending the war in Iran would also include ending hostilities in other places in the region, like Lebanon, where Israel is conducting an invasion. Okay, we've got the anti-imperialist slant. The Iranians demand a protocol for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and the Iranians also demand payment for reconstruction and the lifting of sanctions imposed by the U.S. and the international community. So very, very fascinating. So, and again, these actually are pretty reasonable demands unless you know the United States. They're only not reasonable because the United States is the way it is, right? Their demands are very moderate. Yes, I agree with that. Piss real. Now, it's an open secret, we're going back to our independent article about the propaganda, that Egypt and Pakistan have been trying to mediate a settlement to the war, and that Trump associates Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner have been involved, not joined by Vice President J.D. Vance, who has more to lose politically from this disastrous war than anyone else, including Trump, who, unlike J.D., will not be running in 2028. Therefore, the incentives for a peace deal are powerful on both sides, and even more so after this war. But the president's lack of strategic planning and judgment has tipped the balance of power unbelievably in Iran's favor. I think it's pretty believable for anybody who's been paying attention, right? So that's kind of what's going on there with the propaganda game. Their propaganda game has been very, very strong. Now, today we also have this report from The Hill that says U.S.-Iran received draft ceasefire proposal. Reports on this. Ooh, stretch. Yep, Americans are too addicted to preemptive strikes. Exactly. So the U.S. and Iran have received a draft ceasefire proposal from third-party mediators, according to multiple reports, and this is the one they thought was too maximalist. On Sunday morning, that was yesterday, President Trump slammed Iran over the Strait of Hormuz. He threatened to strike the country's civilian infrastructure, that was the thing we talked about, and pressed Tehran to open the strait. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it, so this is supposed to happen tomorrow. Donald Trump is threatening to bomb their power plants and their bridges. And then he says, open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. This is crazy. Easter message, by the way. Yeah. Easter message. Oh my God. Yeah, he keeps calling them lunatics while threatening to destroy their entire country. Now, the thing that Iran and China have really shown the world is that they are aggressively normal in the face of American capitalist insanity. We talk about capitalism. We talk about the anarchy of the mode of production, the anarchy of the free market, right? But what we don't talk about is how imperialism does embolden these men to act like weird tiny tyrants, weird little kings upon their hills, right? So to have somebody just be aggressively normal in the face of an American leader losing their mind in the public sphere, and in the face of the American economy completely and utterly collapsing regularly, and people suffering, has been remarkably effective, I think, additionally, in getting young people, especially, to realize the failures of capitalism. So people today now, 6 years ago, people thought that China was big and evil and bad and they had a dictator. Now everybody's like, well, China's good. China's good. We fuck with China now. Everybody fucks with China now. Why? Because China has been aggressively normal. They've just been aggressively normal in their response. Iran, same thing is happening, right? Now, the problem with us, for us, in trying to communicate to the masses is how do we get them to extend what they have learned about these countries and see it's not just these countries, this is a pattern and this is a trend. And that's a challenge for us to work on, right? But we're going to see. So the day before, Trump threatened to rain all hell down on Iran as the U.S. headed towards a self-imposed deadline on Monday for the Middle Eastern country to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, an important waterway for the oil industry, essentially closed since the U.S.-Israel conflict against Iran began. Again, U.S.-Israel conflict. Right? Very neutral language. Very neutral language. In a phone interview with The Hill on Sunday, Trump said he was not ruling out troops on the ground in Iran if the country does not come to a deal. I mean, we've been hearing this. We've been hearing this, troops on the ground, troops on the ground, troops on the ground. I really think that Donald Trump thought that would be like a boogeyman thing to just like scare Iran into doing whatever. But that's another, that's another kind of calling our bluff moment that Iran has going on. They're like, okay, fine, send him. And I don't think that the United States wants to. I think we know that would be a disaster for us. The president said normal people would make a deal. Smart people would make a deal. If they were smart, they would make a deal. Hello, pot. Have you met kettle? This is exactly what Iran is showing. Donald Trump saying that, but Iran is showing that they are normal and smart, and Donald Trump is a crazed lunatic himself. Yeah, of a man. The U.S. empire must be eliminated. I mean, I'm sorry. It's evil. It's Pure evil. An autistic baddie 3 says, what annoys me is MAGA will look at that post and go, haha, this will piss off the liberals, and that's all they care about. They don't care about what it actually says. Right, and it's like, this doesn't piss off the liberals. I mean, I don't know, maybe it pisses off the liberals. I don't know what's up with the liberals. But, we commies, right? I look at this and I'm like, oh my god, I have secondhand embarrassment reading this shit. This is so cringe. This is so embarrassing. It's like the ranting of, like, a deranged elderly family member, when they're not really super connected to reality, but they're real mad about something, you know, and you're just like, oh my god, don't do this in public, grandma. Don't do this in public right now, grandma. We don't have time for those. You know, that's it. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, why did you have to add in the praise be to all? Yeah, something like that. And I'm just like, oh my god, just like, you're just like an insane, ranting, lunatic, racist old person. It was just like a crazy racist old person. Like, that's not upsetting. That's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. This is like, yeah, somebody who's mad about desegregation or something. Yeah, it's how crazy it is. Yeah, they say, and the liberals still don't understand that Donald Trump is a symptom. Yes, we were talking about this over on my TikTok stream today. And this is what I keep trying to explain to liberals. Like, if Donald Trump disappeared tomorrow, would everything politically be fine? No, because now all of a sudden, who are you fighting? J.D. Vance. Oh my god, J.D. Vance. Okay, so if we can acknowledge Donald Trump is not a unique evil, but there are many men like Donald Trump in the world, at what point do you acknowledge that you are supporting a system, capitalism, that produces Donald Trump and Donald Trump adjacent men regularly, right? It produced George W. Bush. It produced George Bush Sr. It produced Ronald Reagan. It produced Richard Nixon. All these people that these liberals claim that they hate, right? So if this machine keeps spitting out bad, evil man, and you acknowledge that if Donald Trump disappeared, the new bad, evil man would be J.D. Vance, at what point do you realize you were a fool for continuing to support and endorse this system, and that the whole system needs to change? And that is what they're not processing. They're not understanding. And I really don't understand how to get through to liberals about this. Why are you supporting the system that makes Donald Trump's and J.D. Vance's? Why is that the hill you're going to die on? That system needs to be saved. That's crazy to me. And it really is like, we hate Donald Trump more than you do. We want to make sure men like this are never in positions of power again. We want to make sure that men like this don't even exist, right? That men like this get a proper education so they don't become men like this. Yeah, their slogan is going to be put America's mask back on in 2028. Exactly. It's absolutely wild. Show me an anti-war candidate usually gets libs mad when the topic comes up for you. Yes, exactly. Call to Moose. And this is like the time that I sat next to the guy on the airplane who was like a DNC guy. And I've told the story before, but I'll tell it again for anybody who didn't hear it. One time, me and my friend Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. I know you watch the stream sometime. We were on an airplane flying from New York to LA. And we sat next to this guy who was like, worked with the DNC. And he was like, you're young people. Right, this is 2024. Like, let's talk about the election. And I was like, all right. And Lizzie was just kind of like, uh-oh, you know. So he starts asking us questions, and he's like, what's like the most important thing to you as a voter? And I'm like, foreign policy. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, foreign policy. That's the most important thing to me as a voter. And he's like, usually people say like the price of groceries or something, college. And I'm like, no, foreign policy. And he got really, really upset with that. And he was like arguing with me about how I shouldn't care about foreign policy. And I was like, well, I do. So what now? And he finally was like, well, Democrats and Republicans are the same on foreign policy. And it was kind of like, I'll give you that. I mean, yeah. I mean, of course we're the same on foreign policy. So what am I supposed to do? Didn't you care about abortion instead? And I was like, oh my God, he admitted. Like, oh my God. And he got so mad that he got to the point where he was literally like yelling about abortion on the plane. He was yelling the word abortion so loud, not like on its own, not just like abortion, but like in sentences, right? And he was just like, you should care about abortion. Abortion should be aborted. Blah, 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 blah. And I told him like, well, I did care about abortion. And I did vote for Barack Obama one year because he said he was going to codify Roe v. Wade. But then he said it wasn't a priority for him. So, you know, now I just go with foreign policy. That's really it. And he got so mad. And the flight attendant had to come tell him to be quiet. And then this was the beginning of the flight also. So then we had to sit next to her for like a 5-hour flight. It was very, very fucking weird. But yeah, I told that story online and people were like, that never happened. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Nothing interesting happens to other people, apparently. I'm convinced interesting things actually happen to other people all the time, but they don't know how to tell a story. They don't know how to identify that something interesting has happened here. They're not analyzing their lives to be like, that was interesting that occurred. Let's talk about that and what that meant. But yeah, you know, you can't get a foreign policy agenda that's different between these people. Just Lurking says, I don't think they see other options. They can't picture different systems. They have to support the existing one. Kind of how you felt when you were a liberal teenager. Yeah, or like maybe it's scary. It's scary, the idea of changing the whole system. And this is what I was talking about earlier too. The idea of switching the system is scary because it's uncertain. Because what if temporarily your life was harder? And the people who think this way, though, they are people who exist in relative comfort and privilege. And when they're like, well, what if this made my life temporarily harder? I don't know. It might. And they're right. It might. It might. But like, that is the sacrifice you were supposed to make to build a better system that prioritizes the comfort and well-being of everybody, not just you. Because there are people right now who are suffering immensely under our current system. There are people who are dying from rationing insulin. There are people who are sleeping on the streets, who are homeless. And when you become homeless, it takes like 15 to 30 years off the lifespan of you from the day you hit the streets, right? Those people are dying. You don't care. You don't care. There are nearly a million Americans, according to the Columbia Mailman School of Public Health, are dying preventable deaths every single year just because of poverty and inequality. And what you're really saying is, well, I'm kind of comfortable and I'm not willing to let go of any of that comfort to save those million people's lives. And that is something that liberals don't understand they're doing. They don't understand that's the negotiation they're making. They're not making it consciously enough. So that's why they don't want to switch the system. Yeah. Material conditions in the United States are absolute shit. Yeah, they're bad. And this is like an interesting thing because while it is true that the exploitation of the global South happens to give Americans a relative comfort, a relatively comfortable way of life, the Americans who are enjoying that relatively comfortable way of life are not the average Americans. It's not your average worker, right? It's the owning class here. Maybe some upper middle class people if we're talking about it from a non-Marxist perspective, people with relative comfort, right, financially. But what they don't even understand is that you're fighting to defend a system that doesn't actually even take care of you, right? We want to give you free housing and healthcare, and you're like, yeah, you know, that other people might benefit from that a little more than me. I'll just pay for it. I'll just pay for 50, 60% of my income on housing, and I'll just not have healthcare. That's fine. Because it might be more uncomfortable to go through that transition. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you can, but what about all the people who can't, for whom that's not an option, for them to even just suffer through it? And that's a very interesting negotiation. So I do think the negotiation between recognizing that Americans are in the imperial core both benefit from the oppression of other people, but also realizing that the material conditions that capitalism can provide you, it's diminishing return. And for a lot of people in the United States, they do not have a comfortable way of life. They have a horrible way of life, actually. Their material conditions are really, really bad. I think that's an interesting negotiation. That's like rhetorically a bit of a challenge, right? To try to articulate to people. Like, better conditions for whom? For you? Not for me. Not for me, right? I consider myself to have a relatively comfortable way of life. Compared to other times in my life, certainly. But, you know, I still deal with a lot of financial stress, contrary to people on the internet telling you I'm a millionaire or whatever the fuck. You know, and even then, I'm like, even the little bit of comfort I have, I would trade that in a heartbeat for everybody to have a home, for children to get access to free healthcare, right? For our government to not allow corporations to poison us with our food and with, like, toxic pollution, right, that gives, like, children cancer. Like, I would trade the little bit of comfort I do have to not see children in the Middle East bombed. And liberals aren't even able to make that negotiation. It's very, very interesting. Oh, bye, Virgo. Yay. It's just fascinating. Okay, so this is from today. This is Iran vowing devastating and widespread retaliation if Trump follows through with the fresh strikes that he has put out there and said he wants to do, right? Iran on Monday vowed much more devastating widespread retaliation if President Trump follows through with his threat to ramp up strikes on civilian targets. That would be the power plants, the bridges. If attacks on civilian targets are repeated, the next stages of our offensive and retaliatory operations will be much more devastating and widespread, Iran's Central Military Command said in a message aired early Monday by state media, so that's today. The grim warning came less than 24 hours after Trump raged that Iran should open the fucking Strait of Hormuz or he will ensure the regime's leaders end up in hell. Also, he just looks, his look. Oh, it's not updating. The screen's not updating for you guys. Hold on. Let me fix this. I don't know what's up. There we go. That's what I've been looking at. Why do you say Middle East? So because I'm an American, that's how we talk about it. And that's, you know, it's the way we've been conditioned to discuss it. So when you're talking to an average American, that's what they'll understand when you say Middle East. So that's like my bias from talking to the American working class about material conditions, right? We obviously know that the term Middle East is, it's like, not referential, but it's, you know, it's based on our position in the United States in the imperial core. So it's just it's a turn of phrase habit that I unfortunately have that's stuck when talking to people about politics, you know? Yeah. Hegel's big dialectical says Virgo is gone and we're all stuck with them. Yeah, it is very Eurocentric and Americentric. You're right, I'm an American. It's very Americentric. That's like it's what we do. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, the area Americans call the Middle East, and that's, you know, a little easier to go for it. Americentric, yeah, it is. West Asia is less Eurocentric. That's totally accurate. Yeah. You're working on saying West Asia? Yeah. I feel like it's like, for me, I'm trying to meet an audience where they are, and a lot of times I am talking to liberals, right, or whatever. But you're right, and it's like, if we're all Marxists, we know that we just call it that because of this weird fucked up idea we have of the world revolving around us. So I think that's probably, you're right. MEB working on saying West Asia, we probably should work on that. I think that's a good call out. So this is referencing what Trump said again. Tuesday will be the power plant day, bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran, blah, 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 blah. We said this. It's like saying DPRK instead of North Korea. And I say North Korea a lot, right? Because that's how Americans think of it. If I'm talking to the average, like, American or Westerner about it, and I say the DPRK, I don't even think they know what that is. You know what I mean? I don't even think they know. So sometimes I do use that language to be accessible to people that I'm trying to reach. And you know, as they come along and get a little more educated, they'll understand what we're talking about. You're Irish and you say Northern Korea? Northern Korea. So yeah, sometimes I'll be like, northern part of Korea. North of Korea. Like, I'll try to, like, sneak that in a little bit. But I do think it is, a very interesting negotiation you're making between using the proper terminology and terminology that other people can understand. And I think that's a negotiation I'm always trying to make personally. I don't know if you guys have the same struggle, but I'm like, how do we talk about this? Yeah, Lord Oxym, you didn't know it was called DPRK until going to communist spaces. Yeah. U.S. occupied Korea. I say that sometimes. Occupied Korea, the occupied portion of Korea. But the South is occupied as well. So the South is the occupied area, and the northern part is the free part. Korea and U.S. occupied Korea. Yeah. That is really subversive. I do like that. Sometimes I do just say Korea, like what the United States did to Korea, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is interesting. You have to say Iran while talking to your family, or they're like, what? yeah, totally. It is interesting. You say Southwest Asia because I refer to Europe as West Asia to piss off Europeans. That's funny. I think that's really funny. You're now entering free Pyongyang. I mean, it is free Pyongyang. Okay. Yeah, U.S. occupied Korea is definitely South Korea. Yeah, definitely. But I feel like, I don't know if people would understand that. Like, I don't think if the masses understand that South Korea is militarily occupied by the United States. Like, they don't even know the USA MGIK existed. Like, they don't understand that our military is in charge of their military. I don't think they know. Oh, more people around you say West Asian DPRK. That's actually really useful. Okay, this is useful. I like this because I don't have a firm answer on this. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm always just guessing. So it is helpful, I think, when we share rhetorical strategies we found effective with people. I really like that. I think that's a useful part of talking to the Marxists. Like, what's been working for you? People have been responding well to this. People are not responding well to I think that stuff's helpful. Okay, wait. Talib sent us something. I'm confused. Please share the opinion. Is it about Iran?
China is imperialist according to Vladimir Lenin's definitions of imperialism, and I'm going to use my country, Zimbabwe, as a case study to explain why. This isn't necessarily a moral judgment of the Chinese state, it's just the inevitability of what developed capitalism has to do because of the falling rate of profit and the need to search for new markets.
Marxist, yeah, that's not a comrade. That's not a Marxist-Leninist. Marxist-Leninist, you need to cop Charlie, yeah, no. That's just a left com. That's just your average left com. We don't pay attention to those people. Just a left com. They just got wacky. Those are the people, like I said, where they're like, I'm like, oh, you're a communist in theory. That's great. It's very Frankfurt School. It's very, academic approach. Nothing tangible. Nobody. The second you actually have a worker revolution and start to try to do socialism, these people are like, whoa, that's not real. And I'm like, oh God, what's the utility of this? I don't like that. Yeah, that's why we study groups, exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's what that is. That's what's going on there. That's just somebody who, and I say this, and I don't say this to be mean, but I think there a lot of people who are left comms are people who are on board with communism but have not deconstructed the propaganda they've received about other countries that are socialist, or countries under socialist leadership, rather, depending on how pedantic you want to be about the stages. And that's really what I think it is. And there was a stage, I say that because there was a stage where I was a left com, and I was like, well, I like communism, I don't like this anarchy thing, it doesn't make sense. So, I'm more like left com, blah, 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 blah. And it's because I had not done the reading to unlearn the propaganda yet about places like the USSR, right? About places like the DPRK. So that was a path in my development. And that's how I view it. And that's what the stage I think those people are at. They're like, well, communism does make sense, right? I've read about communism, but I haven't read about actually existing socialism enough to understand that I am heavily propagandized against them. And people need to read more Fanon for starters. Yeah, so just to, not to plug it too hard, but you guys know in my link tree I have resource documents, and sometimes Marxists get mad at my entry-level reading list. So I have this reading list that's an entry to left-wing politics reading list, and they get mad because they're like, why isn't this just like only Marx and Engels and Lenin, basically? And I'm like, well, this list is designed to turn you from a liberal into a Marxist. And because of that, it has a different approach. So it is to break down your propaganda. So the first part is to get primed so you understand a little bit, right? Oh, yeah, folks getting mad at my reading list, how you found out my Twitch channel. Okay, yeah. It is not designed for people who are already Marxists. It is entry to left-wing politics. It's just for people who are just like, I want left-wing politics. I don't like what's going on, but like, I don't know where to start. So it gives you the basics, principles of communism. And then what we're looking at here, these aren't Marxist attacks on imperialism, killing hope, right? So that's so you understand like what the United States government does around the world. Then we have Carl Bernstein, the CIA media. So you understand that you are consuming a lot of propaganda about the world. Carl Bernstein's not a fucking Marxist, right? On anti-communism, the Jakarta method. Okay, so then you understand like, oh, the United States is really invested in making me hate communism. I do have Parenti in here, fascism and capitalism, the same kind of thing to give you like a primer, right? And then we have a book about neoliberalism and just an article about the National Endowment for Democracy and what it is, right? This guy writing for the fucking Washington Post is not a communist. So what this does is this is supposed to make you realize you actually don't understand anything about the way the world works. And that's important. Like, this is literally like break down your ideas. So first, you're breaking down your idea of socialism. You probably have some weird idea about what socialism is. Just read what it actually is. And then just like from here, you're learning that you don't know anything. And that is this whole phase 1 is designed to break your understanding of the world. And they don't have to be Marxist texts to do that. Then number 2 is to learn the truth about socialist projects, right? And be like, oh, well, if I actually don't know then reliably, I can't trust what I know because of the stuff I've read about all these places that did communism. What's the truth? And that's where we introduce the truth about the socialist projects. And that is when the stage where you're supposed to be on board. And you're like, okay, I get it. I understand now that communism can do tangibly good things for the world and for me. How do we do it? And that's where phase 3, we get into theory in a way that is, again, designed for the average liberal to come on this journey with us. I give certain sections of capital in here, right? Because I'm not going to freak you out. I have short things to read, blah, 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 blah. And then I have a little fact sheet of interesting considerations to help you on your journey. This is designed for liberals. And yeah, Marxists hate it. But I'm like, well, if you're already a Marxist, why do you need an entry level to left-wing politics reading list? You're already Marxist. You're already there, babe. You did it. You're not getting introduced. So, very, very interesting. Why people get mad at it. And I have to tell people, I do pull my weight a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I've made more Marxists than you have, so I'm gonna stick with my method. And it's true. And the reason why I keep doing this stuff, even though the internet is a cesspool, is because every single time I go out in public, people come up to me and they're like, I'm literally Marxist because of you. Like, and they're organized, they're in orgs, they're doing work, they're living it, you know? And that always blows my mind because I'm just like some person with internet access, right? And that's so amazing to me, and that's so cool. So, yeah. Kubashi, hi. Welcome. A second mod has hit the chat. But yeah. So, how many selfies and autograph? Never an autograph, but usually people ask to take pictures with me, and it's cute. I like doing it. I think it's really fun. I like it a lot. And if you ever see me in public, please say hello, because that's the stuff that keeps me going, because the internet is so horrible. So seeing people in real life are like, oh my God, like, hey, I love your stuff. And like, I'm a normal person. I'm like, oh, thank you. I do really appreciate it. I like it a lot. You can ask for a hug. That's fine. I've been told I have a very autistic approach to hugs, where I'm like, oh, yes, we are hugging now, but that's fine. Yeah, if you see me in the world, you actually are obligated to give me a pin with Vladimir Lenin's face on it. So carry them around, because you never know where I'll pop up. I do travel a lot. Yay. You know what? I've been to Idaho a bunch. That's what I'm saying. You'll see me anywhere. Yeah. All right. So getting back on our Iran topic, we've got a more strict schedule to adhere to today. Iran submits these demands for an end to the war as mediators scramble ahead of the Trump deadline. This is also from today, right? And everybody's talking about this. So Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Bagai told a news briefing that Tehran has communicated its demands based on national interests to regional mediators. We formulated our own set of demands based on our interests and considerations. We are not ashamed to voice our legitimate and logical demands, he said, when asked about the prospect of an end to the war. Now, a chatter submitted this article and said this was more anti-imperialist slant. Next time I'm in Mexico. I love Mexico so much. Okay, yay. This is, we're actually hearing about the Iranian demands. And think about how the other news sources we've looked at have framed this. Nobody's talked about the Iranian Foreign Ministry and what they're saying, right? Because they sound aggressively normal, right? They're just like, yeah, we came up with some demands. They're based on our national interest. We think they're reasonable. They're logical. And so they can't include that because they don't want to push that agenda. And this is why when I have people read about the entry-level left-wing politics thing, one of the first things I have them read is Carl Bernstein on the media. You understand why that is. You understand when you look at this story versus you look at more kind of mainstream Western news sources, how they're covering it. It's because of the editorial bias and the control over the messaging. There are certain things you are not allowed to do in the United States in media. Our media is actually tightly controlled. So you wouldn't be allowed to do this. You need to instead push this idea that, okay, we don't love Donald Trump. We know he's kooky, haha. Because corporate interests tend to prefer Democrats being in positions of power. More billionaires donated money to Kamala Harris's campaign than Donald Trump's, right? So a lot of billionaire business owners view Democrats as being very stable, so they prefer them. So they're allowed to be like, Donald Trump's a joke, sure, whatever. But there's nothing reasonable about the Iranian people. You can't paint them as being reasonable. You have to paint them as being deranged psychopaths who want to murder us or something like that. Why? Because the Democrats hate Iran too. Kamala Harris was campaigning on Iran being the biggest threat to our national security, blah, 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 most lethal military in the world. So that's why they position it that way. So this is a more anti-imperialist slant, just because it's literally telling you what the Iranian people are saying, right? So Iranian officials have previously stated that Tehran has 4 main conditions for an agreement: an end to the war and guarantees against future military attacks, compensation for losses during the conflict, recognition of formal control of the Strait of Hormuz, and no limits on its ballistic missile program. Bagai stressed that Iranian leaders are committed to continuing the war to defend the country from U.S.-Israeli attacks if necessary. Expressing our positions quickly and courageously should not be interpreted as backing down. I'm hydrating. I'm doing it. The ministry at the same time expressed doubts about U.S. intentions, stating that America destroyed the path of diplomacy in months in the worst way, and the world sees that its claims do not match its actions. True. America gives no value to the security of the region's countries, and its only obsession is maintaining the existence of the Zionist entity, the statement added. And again, why does the United States commit itself so aggressively to defending Israel? It's because we use Israel as a strategic military base. That's it. It's a strategic military base in the region. We use them as one big military base. The U.S. and Israel launched an unprovoked war on Iran starting on February 28th, including assassinating the Islamic Republic's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, despite negotiations taking place at the time described by Omani mediators as positive. So again, in the middle of negotiations, they thought were positive. They're just like, no, fuck it, we're bombing you and killing your leaders and going to war. U.S. and Israeli attacks have so far killed over 1,300 people in Iran, according to Iranian authorities. The Iranian Foreign Ministry announcement comes amid a report from Axios claiming that the U.S., Iran, and a group of regional mediators are discussing a potential 45-day ceasefire, and that's what we already looked at today. So here's the infamous Truth Social post. It's crazy. And then they're just kind of discussing this, like, oh, we're probably not going to make a deal by 8 p.m., blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm less interested in the nuclear weapon thing. Okay. Now, Trump says operation to rescue an airman, plural, from Iran was like finding a needle in a haystack. So there's a group of missing U.S. airmen from a downed fighter jet in Iran. And this has been a thing that's been consistently happening as well. Like, Iran is like shooting down airplanes, et cetera, et cetera. And these airplanes are expensive. Now, one interesting consideration for the war that we actually have not talked about, that I actually think is very, very important, is the effects that capitalism has on the U.S. military. Now, in terms of spending, the U.S. military has the largest spending budget in the world, right? Let's see, military budget by country. But you have to remember, these weapons are coming from private defense contractors, right? They're capitalist entities. So this is, I'm sorry, it's small, but this is the United States compared to the world's 15 largest defense budgets. So, now, this looks huge, and it is huge, and it is ridiculous. However, this is not efficiently spent money. This is ridiculously spent money. Let's see, most egregious overspending by U.S. military. AOL.com. I didn't know they still existed. Goes in this house says most of this money is wasted on untracked money laundering. I mean, true. So over $5 billion spent building ships. Okay, that's interesting. Supply chain resiliency. These aren't that ones. Oh, this one. This is a good example. So they wasted over $1 billion developing obsolete aircraft. So these two manned fighter jets were coming out, and the bill for them directed $400 million to accelerate production and spent $361 million to prevent the retirement of one of the older ones, and $750 million to accelerate this other one. And so all this money is getting spent on this, and Air Force generals were like, oh yeah, these are like actually obsolete. So there's other examples of this too. I was hoping for the more egregious ones. Like, I'm gonna see if I can find it based on my memory. Here we go. This is what I want. So the U.S. military is getting price gouged by private defense contractors. And I do have a whole podcast episode about this. I think it's called Big Guns, starring Nicolas Cage. And my podcast is Pick Me Up, I'm Scared. So this is a major issue, though. Lawmakers say defense contractors are exploiting loopholes on parts prices. So when we look at that massive amount of money we're spending on the military, it's not like it is spent efficiently. We are literally spending huge amounts of money on relatively small or worthless things. Boeing, one of Pentagon's top contractors, has particularly egregious records on massive price gouging. Sometimes there's literally just typos that add extra zeros to the cost of things. And this is why the Pentagon has failed every audit that it's basically ever had. We are spending like hundreds of dollars on single nuts and bolts that should only be $5. Things like this, or 5 cents even sometimes. This is a massive issue we have going on here. Oh, disabled combat vet here. Not only are they price gouged, but our units are always pushed to spend as much money as possible so we don't lose our budget. Right, and there's the use it or lose it component to the budget. Exactly this. So, looking here, 9,400% profit. Yeah, remember, these things are being made under a capitalist mode of production. So that money is not necessarily buying you a powerful military, which is what a lot of people aren't realizing. So the Pentagon's history of paying inflated prices for military spare parts is infamous. Stories about the issues surged during the 1980s defense buildup, including examples of a $400 plastic knob for a fighter jet and a $37 screw for a ballistic missile. Not to mention an ordinary hammer for $435. right? It was really helpful to make sense of the Pentagon budget. Was laid out that the Pentagon exists to launder tax money into private offshore accounts. Yes, exactly. And to make defense contractor buddies rich in the process. Recent disclosures echo those bygone reports. In 2019, the Pentagon Inspector General disclosed one instance where Transdigm charged $4,361 for a half-inch metal pin, representing 9,400% in excess profit. So we're looking at capitalism right here, right? The $435 hammer, exactly. And that was in the 80s. That was in 80s money. Think about that today. The $50,000 toilets. There was the toilet seat issue where there's like this ridiculously expensive toilet seat once. This is a major, major problem. So, we don't necessarily have good military. We also are consistently buying broken helicopters, military equipment that doesn't run right from these private defense contractors. So we really are a paper tiger in terms of military budget. You strongly suspect that the U.S. military is at most 10% as effective as its spending infers. Caltimus, yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's 10%. It's pretty extreme, but it's probably 30, 20%. Yeah, I mean, I guess 10% isn't that extreme if you really, really think about it. Because if you think about the spending of a place like China, and I think China would destroy us in a war. I think they would kill us in a war, right? And the ultimate irony is that our own capitalist ambitions are actually stopping us from being able to impose imperialism and capitalism around the globe at this point. Which is so funny, right? It's just so ironic. It's like capitalism is so bad that we can't even militarily defend capitalism anymore because all of our budgets just spent on price gouged bullshit that doesn't work right. Absolutely bonkers to think about. Very, very wild. Classic internal contradiction. Yeah. So, what happens here? All right. So Iran is shooting down our fighter jets, which, like, I don't know the details of it. However, suffice to say, we know that our jets, our airplanes in particular, consistently are some of the things that pop up as having major issues that are not very well developed, right? We're buying them at these jacked up high prices from these defense contractors, and it doesn't matter how good they are. That's just the deal. Another interesting component of this is that it takes a lot to be an approved contractor for government spending and military spending in particular. Only a few companies really know how to do the process to get through the loopholes to be officially a contractor, and those aren't even necessarily the most efficient companies for this, which is very, very interesting. So this happens. A jet got downed, and then they had these airmen, and they're trying to find it. Blah, 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 blah. This is what occurred. Trump says British ships barely work. I mean, again, contradictions of capitalism for the British as well. British. There was the rescue mission here. These are just kind of the updates. This is not that particularly interesting. Iranian military embarrassed and humiliated. Heads up. Yeah. Iran extraction was race against the clock. I think this is it. This is when they tried to extract the airmen from the downed jet. And Trump said it was like finding a needle in a haystack, finding this pilot. Ratcliffe says the rescue operation in Iran was a no-fail mission as his agents were committed to bringing the Air Force personnel back home. I mean, we needed the win. Can you imagine if those Air Force personnel got captured and ended up in an Iran propaganda video? That would be horrible. How good is your British accent? Horrible. I can only say British. I don't even think that's good. I don't even think that's good. Yeah, and Trump's mad that people are reporting on it. Right? Trump slams leaks and reporting about F-15 crew rescue mission. Now, I do really like the book, Selling the Korean War. It's about the propaganda campaign back home to sell Americans on the Korean War. The reason why I recommend Marxists read it, it's not a particularly Marxist book, but they talk a lot about the UN's involvement in the Korean War, so that's why I tell people to read it. But it is interesting seeing how much media control and media influence went into trying to tell the stories of the war, and it's a good background to understand how we try to control media narratives about war going forward. So I would recommend that as well to people if you're interested in Korea. 3 people in that press conference used the embarrassed and humiliated line, according to Malrish. Literally doing repetition for the seals to clap to. Yeah. Marxist keepers, you're trying saying my name is Madeline in British accent? No. I thought about it for a second and I tried to position my mouth and I was like, no, I can't do it. Would it be, do you say my like moi? Moi? Is that how it goes? I don't even know. I can't do it. So, bottle of water. Would I say Trump is the worst U.S. president ever? No. I think he's a pretty normal U.S. president. I think he's just really annoying and obnoxious and grandiose. I think his affect is unique. We haven't had affect like that in a while. And I think that's why liberals hate him so much. I think they hate him for aesthetic reasons, not policy reasons. Italiano. That's what we do on the podcast when there's a word David can't pronounce. I just say it in an Italian accent. Would I do a panel at FurryCon? Where's FurryCon? I don't know what to talk about with furries. I just know that I stand with our trans furry hacker siblings. I just love them. I fuck with them heavy. Yes, we'll make David be on the stream one day for sure. We'll do that. Okay, it's being reported that the head of Iran's intelligence for the paramilitary Revolutionary Guard and leader of the Guard's undercover unit were both killed from Israel strikes. Okay, but this is on TikTok, so let's see what the TikTok slop is saying. When's the Yugoslavia episode coming out? The first episode might be coming out tonight. It depends if David and I have time to record it today on my lunch break. I don't know. But I'm a little stressed out about Jobby Job. You know? So I'm not sure. If not today, next week.
The intelligence chief of the IRGC, Masjid Hamdani, and his deputy were killed, and that is a major blow. Hamdani oversaw surveillance, counter-surveillance, covert operations. He was one of the most senior figures in Iran to be killed. Fars, the Iranian news agency, is also reporting that the Pars oil facility has been hit. The Israeli port city Haifa was hit. At least 2 people have been found dead. Here in the Gulf, missile and drone attacks have continued. In the United Arab Emirates, where I am, an industrial area was hit, as well as a mobile data center. 85% of the assaults by Iran, the retaliatory strikes by Iran, have landed within the Gulf states. More than 6,000 attacks since the beginning of the war, the lion's share arriving here in the United Arab Emirates. They're really caught between a rock and a hard place and frantically hopeful as well that some sort of a deal can be reached. They're so dependent on the Strait of Hormuz, and their infrastructure has really been pummeled. The intelligence...
Very interesting. What do we think? I believe that could be real. I do believe that could be real. But again, it's like, that's not going to win you the war, you know? You say he is the best because he's been the most mask-off one, which has destroyed the reputation of the USA. China calls Trump nation builder because he has helped to improve China's reputation on the global stage. Wow. I know, Iraq in a hard place. I also was like, that's interesting. Very fascinating. Yeah. Yeah, the Republican Party is the true American Party. And the Democrats are the same but with better PR. Okay, wait, let me see. As a person who lives in Britain, McLofi asks, would I be right in saying the Democratic Party is the true American Party, the Republican Party is more optically a caricature of American government? So look, let me show you some numbers. I'm going to show you some data. All right. So, here's what I want to show you. So, first of all, in the 2024 election, which was considered an important election here in the United States, 64% of the voting eligible population voted. So, that means that what? 26%? 80, 90, 36%. 36% of Americans who could vote just chose not to. All right. So, 36% is pretty massive. And that means that over 1 in 3 Americans just don't feel represented by the Democrats or the Republicans at all. And that's major. So then let's compare that to what percent of Americans voted Democrat or Republican. Because some people voted and they voted third party, like me. I vote communist. I vote for Marxist-Leninists, engaging a lot of model of electoral engagement. So what percent of Americans voted for Kamala Harris? And what percent of Americans voted for Donald Trump?
So out of the remaining, what did we say? 64% voted? Yeah, 64%. So out of that 64% that voted, we're going to see. Oh my God, Pew. I love Pew Research. Their polls are very, very complete. But it's almost too much data for us right now. Okay. 2024 voters, validated voters. So out of the 64% of Americans who did vote, 50% of them like Trump. So basically 32% of Americans, sorry. Man, the allergies. So bad. So basically less than a third of the Americans like Donald Trump. 32% of Americans, roughly speaking. Thank you. 48%, even less, liked Kamala Harris. Maybe 30%. Another huge range of people are voted third party. Not huge, but significant statistically, some significance. And what you're really looking at here is that the majority of people in the United States are not Democrats or Republicans. You said it out loud. So funny. So this is what I'm trying to show you with this data. And 45% of U.S. adults of voting age identify as political independents today. That is more than people who identify as Democrats or Republicans, very obviously, right? If you're breaking it up between 3 different categories, 45% is the lion's share. So what you really need to understand about American politics is that because voting's not compulsory here, it makes it sound like roughly half the country supports the Democrats and half the country supports Republicans. No. Actually, the majority of people do not support either. So there is no political party that represents us as average Americans. There's just not. And that's why we have so much voter apathy. That's why we have so much low voter turnout. Now, the Republicans and the Democrats, they basically are the same party, just with different ways they like to get things done. Their foreign policy is the same. So they're both neoliberal capitalist parties. I always say people within this framework, within this ideology, exist on a slider between how much freedom you have to not be exploited and how much freedom your boss has to exploit you. And the Republicans are more on the we're going to give your boss more freedom to exploit you side, and the Democrats are more on the you have more freedom to not be exploited side, but it's not far. It's not that different. So I think that's a good way to think about American politics, and most Americans do not fuck with any of this, but they feel very politically apathetic, so they just don't engage. So I think that's important to remember. Yeah, so most people don't like either of them. Yeah, if you tell Republicans and Democrats that they're both neoliberals, they don't like that. They get really, really mad. And this is why it's particularly silly when we look at the Democrats trying to chase this imaginary center-right voter. They should be trying to chase the non-voters. There's a massive amount of non-voters. There's an additional 30-some-odd% of the American population that can be voting that is not. And we see that when Democrats actually do win elections, they run on a left populism kind of thing, and it's usually bullshit. They run as left populists, and then they totally don't do anything they promised. But that's when they engage non-voters, and that's actually the way for Democrats to win elections, but they don't do that. How many North Koreans leave North Korea? Are you thinking about, I have China border records, but I don't have anything for North Korea on the whole. China border records you can see on the Chinese census data website. David's texting me about the podcast. So it looks like the Yugoslavia episodes are going to start next week on the podcast. And we'll do bonus content that goes along with them. And I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow as well with somebody, which is cool. Oh, David said, I'm happy to record today if you want it to be around 1:30. Oh, okay, maybe we will do it this way. I'm going to say, that's not bad, let's do it. Okay, so you will get an episode tonight on Yugoslavia then, everybody, on the podcast. His mom didn't die, but his mom has aggressive cancer that she's battling right now. So very, very stressful. Are you and David actually friends? Yes, we've been friends since we were sophomores in high school. I call him podcast co-host, so you guys have the reference point for who he is, because I do know a few Davids, so I just say that to give people who don't know the reference point. But yeah, David and I have been friends since we were sophomores in high school. We have a very bickery, funny sibling relationship. We've known each other for a really, really, really long time. So, and for us, by the way, because we're like 40, being a sophomore in high school was like in the year 2002. Yeah. So we know each other for like 24 years. Yeah. Is Yugoslavia and Bosnia the same place? What we think of as Bosnia is part of historic Yugoslavia. It's a lot of mess. It's a whole lot of mess. Yeah, we're big adults. We are big adults. It's very, very funny. So, that's what's up. There is also this really good Mint Press News looking article, Global Energy Shock, Iran turns her moves into a toll gate challenging the petrodollar. We talked a little bit about this already. We called it the pedo dollar. This looks good. We're not going to have time to go over it today, but look this one up. This seems like good to read. Yes, that is the place that was Balkanized. It's very, very fascinating, the Yugoslavia story. So, the pedo dollar. Yeah, pedo dollar caught on. I love it. So, all right, I think that's it for our stream today. Iran winning the propaganda war, winning the real war, possibly. Inspiring the masses to choose socialism in the future, I hope. We're gonna wait. Are you seriously considering coming to Festa de Avante in September? I want to. Actually, I want to. I feel like I need to run it by my party to see if there's anything I should consider. I'm gonna look it up. Festa de Avante. Does anybody in the chat help coordinate it or put it on, or do you guys just go to it? Because I am interested in it. That would be fun. It's a big deal. FurryCon, I don't know. Depends on where it is. If it's in LA, I'd think about going to FurryCon. Wait, so if there is Make It Queer, you help? You're in the party and you construct it. Okay. Yeah, I should talk to you about this. I'm going to make a little note really fast. Hold on. Yeah, because I'd be interested. And it's in September, so that's time for me to go. Festa de Avant. I'm making a note. Yeah, that would be cool. I would really like that. I do not speak any Portuguese. Is that a problem? Is that an issue? Yeah, this stream feels short because you're using the Cuba streams. I know, but I have to actually do my job. Last week, our sales were horrible because I did like 0 marketing all week. And I'm like stressing this week. Like it might be like Madeline misses a paycheck this week vibes. So I can't keep doing that. That was a little nice distraction, but I'm like, oh God. Okay. So your TikTok is same user. You'd love to come. Okay. Let me Make It Queer on Twitch and TikTok. I'm gonna talk to my party and see if there's anything. I don't know. It might be like somebody else from the party has to come because we're pretty good about like security and safety, so we like to do things together. I don't know. So it might be just something I'm not thinking about. But yeah, I'm really, really interested. That would be so cool. I'm very interested. That would be rad. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm gonna send you guys to Larry. I'm gonna start. Am I currently living paycheck to paycheck? Yes. Yeah, I am. I have a little bit of savings right now. I think I have $2,000 in savings, but like if I skip this paycheck, that's just going to pay for my bills this week. I get $1,000 a week is what I live off of. I get paid weekly. So I only have $2,000 in my savings account right now. So yeah. And that's why it's so wild getting on the internet and seeing people call me a millionaire. Malcolm in the Mosh Pit. Hi, yay, it was so great meeting you too. Yes. Yeah, these people write whole ass fanfic. And I'm like, cool, I can't afford to fix my car because the deductible is like $1,000 for the repairs I need done. But yeah. All right. Okay, guys. So I'm going to send you over to Larry. Yes. Oh, on Facebook? I haven't even seen on Facebook. These people just make shit up. It's fucking wild. All right. I will be back tomorrow and we'll take a look at the news yet again, everyone. Bye. Larry time.